right, what is going on, people? We are back for another episode of the Chasing Waypoints podcast. So if you guys have been keeping up, we've been doing our updates with the Dakar Rally 2022. Checking that out. Getting some pre-race info to you guys and what the stages are going to be like. But this time around, we are back doing it in the Bivouac. This time around with a local legend. But this guy is so legendary that we're actually going to have to do a completely separate introduction for him. So, with that being said, let's cut this party. Dave, are you there?
Yo, what's going on, Taco?
Nada. For those playing the home game between us, I'm Adventure Taco, and this is Gnarly Dave.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, but I do have a special intro song that I picked out for this episode because we've been talking about this for so long, about doing this, and we finally get a chance to do it. So.
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot. I didn't even practice.
No. I'll do one, and then you'll kind of get warmed up, and then we can do another one. I think that'll work, right? Okay, here we go.
Sure, we can. All
right. Here we go. Let me get.
Am I?
Tune the vocal.
Are you going first?
I'll go first. I'll go first. I was, usually it's whoever calls gets to do the intro first.
Gotcha.
Got a little warm up the vocal cords a little bit, and so all right, here we go. Coming to us live from Southern California high desert, a legend amongst mere mortals, known to use pepper spray to season his carnitas. The local chef, the local road book maker, the man, the myth, the legend, Gnarly Dave.
That was all right. Was that just on the fly, or?
Dude, that was about no. I'm not that good. That was like 2/3 of the. That was about 2/3 come up with. The last line was on the fly.
Gotcha.
It's pretty good though, right? I mean, the music adds a little bit more effect to it.
It does. It
adds. I don't know exactly what it's going to sound like once the recording is out. Probably everything's in the red and clipping, and
For sure.
I'm just doing this until Discovery Channel calls and says they want to hire me.
Oh, right around the corner.
Yeah. Right.
They're dialing your number right now.
Yeah, I can hear. Oh, there they are. Yeah. All right. So, what is going on? You're back up and riding, right? Shoulder feeling better, chest, everything?
Yeah. I tore my chest, ripped my pec off the bone, so I've been out of commission for like 4.5 months, but just started riding and got some road books I need to test, so I've just been doing that the last week, so it feels good to get back on the bike.
Nice. Well, that's good. I'm sure that moto therapy and getting back out there probably a nice change in pace rather than just hanging out.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's exactly what I needed. Some moto therapy.
Nice. So in all of this and throughout all the podcast episodes, a lot of people, I think we had a thing going, right? That it was at least I was mentioning you once per episode.
Yeah. That was a pretty long run. And then when you did it, I was like, oh man, I didn't make the cut.
I'm offended.
Yeah.
So how did so I know I met you at Baja Rally, and that was you were doing the starting. How long were you doing that for Baja Rally? Because you were only there a year or two after I got there.
Yeah, from like day one, like when we were underground, like before you came on, when we didn't really have like permits or permission, and Scott, he was like, "Bro, go here. Here's a pin. Don't put up the easy ups to the last minute because no one can see. And then as soon as you're done, get out of there. Go to the next spot." So, I mean, it was total underground, and it was fun, and it was new, and I fell in love with it, and just what we were doing, and got to learn, more about it. And so, yeah, I was like start guy, timing, scoring, extraction guy, anything I could do, I did, and put out fires and whatever we need to do to make it keep going.
So yeah, you're Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, pretty much. So whatever Scotty needed or, someone needed, then we're there to keep it rolling. So
nice. And so this is after you joining Baja Rally and doing that. How did that even get started? How did you get sucked into Baja Rally?
Well, obviously through Scotty. And then he goes, "Hey dude, he needed my help with something." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then, I drug Bear along with me and, Mikey West, and, we're a really great team. We work together well.
Nice.
And we did that from the beginning and, did that for a while. And then, like you said, like a year or two, well, you're there at the end. And then, other opportunities came up and I need to figure out what I wanted to do, and, doing stuff with, Johnny and JCR and, other opportunities came up, and I'm like, you know what, I think I'm going to bow out of this and, chase those opportunities, which led me to doing, roadbooks and testing with the team. I mean, I've been helping Johnny with rally bikes since, I think 9-10 years now. Some memories came up on Facebook when we're testing the Gen 1 rally bike. So yeah, been around that for a while with Honda.
Yeah. And so, and even then, like way back, like you have some history, obviously with racing and what you've done, in the high desert and at multiple races, but all the way into the point where you started working or were one of the main guys with, JCR. How?
Yeah. I mean, I've raced my whole life. I've been riding dirt bikes since I was 5, and, I raced Hare and Hound series, won a few championships in District 37 and Hare and Hound. And, I was involved with our Baja program since 95. I think I'm still like one of the oldest, longest volunteers still going, me and Chris Bozen and Chuck Wagner. So yeah, I was part of that Baja reign, for Honda and Johnny for quite a long time, and started as a grunt, just tagged along and worked my way up to, assistant pit captain and then pit captain, but that took a while. I remember, we had a team meeting before the race, right? And I'm like, I want to share the stoke of what we do at Honda with my friends, because I was like, had buddies like, "Hey, I want to go do the pits," and I asked my pit captain, he'd be like, "Nope, we're full, we're good." I'm like, "Oh." So I set up my dominoes and just everything ready. I'm like, I'm going to talk to Johnny about getting my own pit, about being a pit captain, set up my replacement and everything. So I was like, "Hey, Johnny, can I talk to you for a minute?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." And I go, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, talk to Chucky. I set everything up. I'd really love to be a pit captain. I want to share the stoke. I could do a great job." And Johnny was like, "Cool. Thank you for your enthusiasm. I'll let you know." It was like, womp, womp, womp. I'm like, not the way I wanted to go. And I was like, well, that sucked, and, fast forward, like, I don't know, maybe a year later, I get a call from Johnny. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing for, the 500? I'm like, "Nothing." He goes, "Well, you got your shot. You're going to be a pit captain. You're going to be a maintenance pit, which means full service for the 1X, lights, fuel, wheels, everything." And, we knocked it out of the park. And then Johnny's like, "All right, you're my guy." So.
Nice. So yeah. I'm sure that, and just to get an idea about how many years was it from grunt to pit captain?
Oh, maybe 5.
Okay.
5 or 7, but I mean, it's a long learning process, because I remember when Johnny called me and told me, he goes, "Hey, you know what?" He's like, "I talked to Chuck. I talked to Red Austin, bless his soul." He's like, "I talked to Roger." He talked to all the main OGs. He goes, "And they all vouch for you." And at that point, we've done a bunch of 24-hour pits in Baja and double pits. So, I learned from everybody, learned from Johnny, just always took in what they said, and Bruce, when he was around, just took everything in, absorbed it, and just tried to do my best every time.
and it shows, because obviously the relationship still continues, right? After once JCR was formed, and so
so when we left Baja, I still helped the Ox Motorsports and stuff, because I was like, that's my 1X plate too. I helped earn that. But my relationship with Johnny and the friendship we developed and everything still kept me involved in doing things with the team, down in Baja, doing like Rip to Cabos and Baja Beach Bash, and going out testing rally stuff with Johnny, So, so trust and friendship is a big part of it.
Yeah. Nice. So that, and obviously it's evolved a little bit, right? So it's now kind of gone from the Baja stuff to the rally stuff, more focused on that part of it. What, how did that like come about? Like, cause I mean, I've known you for a very long time, and since you started making the road books. So how did you even get into the road book making? What was that about?
So like I said, I've been involved with like helping Johnny, like testing rally stuff. And then Johnny has a weird way of not making you or just nudging you. And just, if he thinks you're good at something, he'll keep talking to you until you're like, okay, maybe I'll try it. And then he was like, hey, Nar, I think you'd really be good at like making road books. I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't want to get into that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not a computer guy. And so JC was like, hey, I need you for rally training in Sonora. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, I'll go. Just, I haven't done that. I want to do that. Never been there. So we went, and we're in the meeting, and, Johnny and Ricky and are there. And so I see Garrett Poucher, and Skylar. I'm like, I'm going to go sit with Garrett, because, I hang out with Johnny and those guys all the time. And I go, wow, this is really interesting. I was like, hey, Garrett, I'm like, what do you think about this? I'm like, what kind of computer would I need to be doing this? And I was picking Garrett and Skylar's brain and stuff. And I was like, kind of got me a little pumped, I'm like, all right. So the next morning, Johnny's like, hey, I'm going to put you with Scott Whitney. And Scott Whitney is the guy that makes all the road books for Sonora, right? He is the guy. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm cool with everybody. And so me and Scott are in the truck, and we're going to his place, and then we're, waiting. He goes, and Scott was like, hey, man, this guy's going to come over this hill, and they come over here, and they should go here. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, slow down, squirrel. What are you getting so excited about? I'm like, this guy's totally pumped on this. I'm like, whatever, But then I spent a few days with Scott, and it's like, man, it really piqued my interest. And I was like, wow, this is, I think I want to try this. And then I was like, okay, Scott, like, what do I need? I took my information from Garrett and Skylar, and I was just like, in Scott. And I talked to Johnny, and Johnny's like, yeah, whatever you need, I'll help you. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I just went, bought everything on my own, and bought Rally Now, the program. And when we're doing like rally training with Jimmy and stuff, I'm in the room. I mean, I don't ask a lot or say a lot. I just try and listen and just put the puzzles together. And I start making road books.
Nice. And a few of them.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, so the year Ricky won, I spent like 8 months putting thousands of miles of road books together, and Marty Gomez helped me a lot too and stuff. And then Scott Whitney was like, I had questions. I'd be like, Scott, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And then, same with Chili White, because Chili did some rally stuff, and I would ask Chili questions also, of course, along with Johnny, and then I called Jimmy and see what they thought about stuff. And it was just a process, So I just tried to take the best of what I related from everybody, and just help me create my style of road books,
And that's, I mean, you have like, we've talked a lot about this and gone through, and I've actually, I would like to say that my first ever ridden road book was yours, even though I didn't complete it.
Yeah.
But the 790.
You did really good. You did, yeah. You did really good. You did really good. I mean, you bailed out at the right time because there was some deep sand coming up. So,
I mean, I was all right. I mean, I did explore one of those washes pretty. I was riding off into the sunset, thinking I was doing my best impression of Quinn Cody on a.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, I don't know, can I do it? I'm like, I don't know, Quinn Cody can do it, so why can't you?
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that one uphill. Dude, I won't put you through anything I don't think you can handle as I get to the top of this and realize it's literally a straight down on the other side.
Those guys coming up on the other, coming up the backside in the Jeeps were cheering you on when you were coming down.
Yeah. Meanwhile, loaded pants. This is where I realized how important it is to make sure you understand your ABS settings. For those playing the home game and have ABS, please understand how it functions before you attempt to do any kind of serious riding. Because, I felt like I was doing Mach 6 by the time I got to the bottom of the hill.
I do have that on video, I believe.
Well, we might have to release that here at some point. I mean, it felt like Mach 6. I'm sure it was like walking speed, but whatever.
A little bit faster than that, but you did really good. I thought I really did really good, honestly. You kept it in line. You didn't let the back end get away from you. You kept your momentum going down the hill, and you stayed in a good line. So you did really good.
Well, there was one test. I'm sure there'll be more. Yeah. But I'm happy. I got a skinny bike now, so I just got to get that thing going. So we did that. Now you were a racer before, and the behind the bars side of it. So how does that affect your roadbook making? When you go to design a roadbook, what are you thinking? And how do you do it?
Well, I generally know what I have in mind, or like sometimes Johnny will be like, hey, we need more of this, more of that, less of this. And then I'm like, okay, I think about the prior roadbooks I've made and try and make them different. And then, people make roadbooks different, like, I don't know, like Augie, he'll do it on his computer and then go write it. I don't feel comfortable doing that because, like, if I do it on my laptop and I go, oh, yes, this, I'm going this way. And then I get to somewhere I haven't been, I go, oh, if I went this way, it looks way more epic. Because I can read, my experience from racing and stuff is I can read terrain really well. I can tell what the desert's going to do. And so if I'm doing it from a laptop, and then I'm stuck to a route, I'm like, but my way of doing it is I know where I want to go, more or less. I know what I need to put in the route. And I just take off and do it and explore and find new stuff. And it's 95% of the time it's epic. Mm-hmm. And then, I GPS it and then go home, load it in, edit it, which takes forever, and then when I feel it's pretty good, I'll go test it.
Nice. So,
it's just a long process.
Yeah. But you do it in a way where you're actually riding on the ground, seeing the terrain, picking and choosing in an effort to make it safer, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember me and Ricky were talking. He's like, no, he's like, why do you do it like this? You waste so much time. I'm like, because you can't see the dangers from Google Earth. He goes, yeah, you can. I'm like, no, you can't, bro. So I just feel, for me, I don't want to be the guy that hurts Ricky or Ace or yourself or Augie Bright, running one of my road books. So I want to go out there. I want to see it. If there's a danger, I'll mark it, and then so when I go to load it up, I know it's there,
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say, so that it's dialed basically to a point where you feel comfortable letting somebody go down it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but I'm still going to test it. Like, I'm testing burritos in the sky right now. So that's 202-mile route. So what's that, like 350 kilometers, 341, something like that. Mm-hmm. But I did that like 5 months ago, and I got hurt, so I haven't been able to ride. And just this last week, I've been able to go and test it, and most of it's pretty accurate. I did the last third of it, and there were just a few corrections I had to make. And then actually I'm going to go tomorrow and do that 110-mile section by myself up north. So, yeah. And then I'll just, as I ride, I make notes on my paper route, and then come home and then just unroll it and just go note by note and make the corrections.
Nice. So it's not as far as making a route quickly. It's not, but it is like the quality of the route and the road book would be higher because of what you're doing and the way that you approach it.
Yeah, for me, this works for peace of mind and safety, and it just works from the beginning to the end. Yeah. So like this route, Burritos in the Sky. I used to write down how many hours it takes, including getting up, getting ready, driving out there, all day riding, drive time home, loading the program, editing it, and 100-mile route would, I could have 30, 40 hours in it, total. But Burritos in the Sky, I don't know, this 200-mile route's my biggest one. So I really want to knock this out of the park and have a good route for the guys. So I want to take my time, make sure all the tulips are correct and everything. So it's a lot of time invested.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely your signature, and having ridden part of it. Yeah. The mix of terrain and all the area, and it is definitely epic. And especially with the rain that you guys just got, because I remember we did it. There was a lot of brown, everything was just kind of dried out. And I don't remember we went, it was like, was it beginning of summer or yeah, it had to have been, right?
I think so.
Late spring. So
correct. Correct.
Yeah. So now with all of the rainfall that we've just gotten, I'm sure it's got to be pretty epic. Everything green and not. So obviously we won't talk about too much about the terrain because we don't want to give it away.
Yeah, I went out like a few days ago, and I left at like 8:30, and it was like 29 degrees. I'm like, oh my God, it's so cold. It was freezing, but I needed to get it done, So, and it was wet. It was beautiful everywhere. So,
hero dirt.
For sure. Absolutely.
Speaking of hero dirt, heard the Dakar got some rain overnight last night. Yeah, because I think it's, we're about 3 hours away from the start of the stage, so it's 1 a.m. or something like that over there.
Yeah, they're going to make some changes to the course.
Okay.
Because of the weather and the rain. I have some connections. Obviously I'm connected with Johnny and JCR, but I have some other friends on factory teams that I still talk to, and we message each other, and they give me their input on the day and stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, I did already see a news blurb about one of the marathon stages being X-nayed. So I don't know how exactly that's going to play out. I got to do some reading on it, but I heard that because they blamed it on the weather, so because of the weather that they were going to do it. So, which I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting because now wet sand is much easier to ride than the sugar sand that they would have been expecting. So I wonder how, that might play more into the favor of our guys.
Perhaps. Let's hope so. I mean, the other day got so many guys last time. I said, well, my guy, he rides for the Factory Hero team, and we were talking this morning, and he was telling me, I'm like, so what happened at, what kilometer was it? I forgot, like 270 or something. I'm not really sure. But he told me, he was like, it was really hard to find the right piece. And he's like a long distance to the WPC. He's like, there was no arrow or anything to show you where to go. So it was really tough. And he said there was a lot of tracks and the forks and stuff. So it was really difficult.
Yeah, it seems like a few got it right, but a lot of guys didn't. And it just further added to the confusion. And that, I guess it's kind of, I guess it's kind of weird, right? You show up to a fork in the road, and if you're kind of towards the front of the pack, in that case, you may be luckier, because if you're towards the back of the pack, then the guys that got lost, you're also seeing their tracks as well.
Yeah. So it's just like, which way do I go? But then that's when you rely on your training, what you practiced and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Make the decision. So yeah, it's, I think this year is going to be interesting, with the way that they've changed it up and now with this weather. I don't recall the last time. I know when they were in South America, they were more apt to experience wet weather. But I don't know exactly how many days it rains in Saudi Arabia, but it's not many. And
I don't think so. I was surprised when I heard they got rain. I was like, wow. And it was flooded too. So
yeah, it sounded pretty gnarly. I think it was a video from either Matthias Wagner or Daniel Sanders that they were in their motorhome sleeping, and you could hear just the rain beating down on the roof. I'm like,
wow. What about the guys sleeping in their tents? What about that?
Oh, that's come on. The Malamoto guys. They are earning their stripes.
Yeah. Well, even like you don't, the guys that work, at Honda, like the mechanics and like Johnny, they sleep in a tent, Oh,
that's
Johnny doesn't sleep in an RV. Johnny sleeps in a tent, So yeah,
I hope it's a good
long night.
I hope it's a good tent. I did even I did see a shot on the social from HRC about the gear, some of the gear that they're wearing. And I guess they're even wearing like a heated jackets, which I was like, I saw some guys with the big hand warmer mitts that they use like in snowy conditions on bikes.
Yeah,
I saw that, and then I saw a post, and it was the company kind of promoting that they were using their jackets that are that heated style. So kind of weird. Not the weather that I would think they would be experiencing.
Yeah, even when it wasn't like last year, I remember talking to Ricky and stuff, and he was like, my hands are freezing. My hands are turning blue because they're leaving at 1, 2, and 3 in the morning. It's freezing over there. Yeah. So yeah, that was a big thing, just to try and stay warm on the liaison to the start.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's no joke. I mean, you're once you start losing feeling in your fingers, I mean, that's your clutch, that's your front brake. There's a lot going on there. Your mind can tell your hand to keep it closed, but when it comes time to having to feel, how much brake to apply or that kind of stuff, the fingers won't cooperate sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with the experience now that, I mean, you've been working with Ricky and Johnny for a while, is there stuff from their experience, like their road books, like particularly like what Ricky's experienced, feedback that you've gotten and things that you might have changed based on that?
For me, it's just a learning process. I honestly get a lot of good feedback from Kendall. Kendall's like an awesome bookmaker, so I get a lot of my feedback, or I ask questions from Johnny and Kendall,
Okay.
I try not to bug Ricky too much. So like if I give Ricky a book and he doesn't say anything, I'm like, okay, at least it was decent and he didn't say nothing.
Okay. No news is good news.
Yeah. Or I might hear it from Kendall. He can be like, hey, Nar, he's like, I'm not sure about this note. He's all we got there. And, it just didn't quite make sense. I'm like, well, this is my thought process on it. And then me and Kendall will talk about our thought process on something, or me and Johnny, and he'd be like, oh, okay, I get what you're doing. I got it,
Gotcha.
So
it makes it So there's a good feedback loop there, and it's helping you get the road books set.
Yeah. And then I get road books from the races that they do, and I look at the road books from the actual race, and it kind of helps me. I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that, or doing it a different way like this. So I try and incorporate new stuff in my books that you wouldn't normally see, because like an Ace or Jacob or yourself, whomever is like, coming out for training and running my books, like, oh, I know what Nar's going to do. I know he's going to do this. So it's not the same thing every time. So you don't get a feel. It's a different feel. Keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Which is good, because that's the whole rally thing. You could be down And I'm sure there's like, there's people that have been down the roads that we were down, tons of times, but it's the combination of them and where you're going to go next that keeps people guessing. So I guess you could say, yeah, having more detail and having a more thought out road book can lead to both ways. Because I mean, these guys, I from what I was hearing on the Dakar Daily podcast about different road book makers and notes per mile and how they do things and that could be, or notes per kilometer. It could be very tricky. So I'm sure you have to do probably try and do some of that stuff as well, right? Keep them on their toes, keep them guessing.
Yeah, exactly. And then like this burritos in the sky, there's stuff that I haven't done prior in road books that I incorporating in this one. So when they run this, you'll be like, oh, okay. So like, I'm looking forward to running this with Jacob. Augie Bright. Because Jacob makes books also, and I have yet to run his books, but like I'll run it with Jacob. Well, I'll try and stay in Jacob's dust with. He's just really fast. I was kind of impressed when we rode together. And then like Jacob will hold up like every maybe 20, 25K and, make sure I'm coming. Or if he has like a question on a note, he'd be like, hey, I don't really get this. Okay. And then I'd be like, okay, well, this is my thought process, Jakey. And he goes, okay, well, I was thinking this, and then we'll talk about it and we'll get each other's different perspective as bookmakers. And then, he'll help me see something different and hopefully I'll help him see something different. And that just makes us better and makes him a better, rally racer, and helps make me a better bookmaker,
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Cause I know he's been working on it. He was out actually, I believe he was out in Morocco too, right? I haven't caught up with him since that, but I know he was out in Morocco. I know he was at Sonora Rally. I know he put the Moto Minded kit to the test. Part of the reason why I ended up with one for my bike. So he's getting there. I mean, he's fast. He absolutely is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, when we went and Jacob came out for some training, ran some of my books, and me and Jacob ran Sabaland, one of the routes I have, and I'm like, I know exactly where it's going, right? I'm like, that's cool. I'll just shadow Jakey, and I was like, like a couple corners later, I'm like, how the hell did he get so far ahead of me? I'm like, there's no way. I'm all, no, F this. I'm like, I'm going to chase him down, right? So I think I was on my Yamaha, my Rally Light.
Yeah.
So I'm all bombing it, and I know exactly where I'm going, right? And Jacob's reading my book. He's scrolling and reading. Dude, and I keep my bike stock just so I can't go fast and get hurt because I'm not a racer anymore. I'm a bookmaker, so I don't need to go fast. Yeah. Dude, I'm hitting stuff. I'm like cutting corners. I'm like bottoming out my suspension. I'm like, I'm not getting any closer to Jake. He's actually pulling away. I'm like, you know what? You can have it. I know exactly where he's going, so I'll catch him there, Yeah. So, yeah, that was fun.
Nice.
Just it just made me realize, I'm like, I'll never be at those guys' level. So yeah. I'll stick to what I'm going to be. Hopefully, what I'm good at is, trying to make road books.
Yeah. Yeah. And get that side dialed in for these guys. Cause I mean, I think it's how do you, okay. So when Ricky comes back or when Johnny calls you and says, we need books and stuff like that, what's the, what's the feeling behind that?
Well, first of all, they got a Cedro. Man, this guy makes me so mad. I don't even know him, but he makes me mad. Well, it doesn't make me mad because, like, he makes road books for the team, right? But Cedro's on the other side of the world, right? And he makes spot-on road books in my backyard. I'm like, Johnny, how? He's never even ridden it. He goes, no, Cedro's, raced a car. He knows he's been around this his whole life. He's like, his room where he makes road books, he's got like 80-inch monitors and he can zoom into an anthill. Like, I'm like, I got my little $300 laptop. I'm like making road books on, Yeah. So Johnny's like, hey, this guy is a master at what he does. So don't get discouraged. So, so Ricky is, his road book guy is a Cedro, So I'll make books. If he runs out, and like I'll make a book and I'll test it, and I'll test it a few times and have someone test it before I hand it. I'll tell Johnny, go, hey, this book's ready. Tested it, and then I'll just go by Ricky's house and drop it off. And if he runs it, he needs a road book, then he'll run it.
Gotcha.
So
all right.
Yeah.
So the options are there, which is good. I mean, if it's because that's exactly what they're going to face in Dakar. They're going to have guys that are really good at making road books, and they're going to have guys that aren't so good at making road books, and they're going to have guys that are really, really good but way too detail oriented and want to put 6 notes per kilometer.
Yeah.
So the more,
I think I fall in the. Yeah, I think I fall in the category as like not that good at road book. So that's really great training for Ricky. You're like F&R, what the hell? I'm like, hey, it's training, bro. You got to figure this out.
Yeah.
So
well, and then it's a road book. Making a road book, from what I can tell, is a very personal thing because it's in the eye of the beholder. I call it the painter. Like I'm painting this road book, I'm gonna, it's just so cool, bro. I feel like Scott Whitney right now, I have that excitement, just cause I'm like, if I see something, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be bitching. I know I can get around this hill. We'll probably go up that canyon. It's going to be a virgin sand wash. I get so pumped. I'm like, and then when it comes together, I'm just like, I knew it. It's going to be bitching, and I get that Scott Whitney feeling, bro. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, you get pumped. And then especially if they're, okay, this is where they're supposed to come out. And then, they're 10 minutes late, but then they show up and you're like, okay, nice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was, so the year Ricky went to Dakar and stuff, man, I had hundreds of miles of road book that Ricky and Johnny were training on for Dakar. So Johnny was shadowing Ricky on my road books, right? And so we're at a location, the engaged day, and I'm like, dude, I'm so stressing out because I'm like, oh, how bad did I screw this up? And then I was like, hey, Gage, they should be coming out over there and here. And Gage is like, calm down, bro. I go, oh my God, I'm Scott Whitney right now. and then, dude, when I saw him, I'm all, hell yeah. And then Johnny came in first, and Johnny's like, I won, I figured it out. It was such a cool feeling. And like I said, if Johnny thinks you're good at something, he'll keep nudging you until you take the chance to do it and see where you land. And so I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing all right. I have a lot of people run my books and stuff, and super stoked. And like Johnny even put me on Ricky's poster, like my little NAR sticker on there. So, dude, that was for me. That was huge. That was like super cool.
Nice. I believe I have one of those in the garage.
You might.
Yeah. Nice. And so, I mean, that's, you're doing that. What are you thinking? I mean, are you going to step up, try and do a rally?
We were talking about that. I really feel like I should. So I think it's going to give me a different perspective on making road books because, I'm making them, I'm doing my own pace, I'm doing my thing, but to be in a race, I've raced my whole life since I was a kid up until my injury in 2008. One of my injuries, God, I've had so many. But I really feel that if I did a rally in a race situation, it would help me be a better painter, a better road book maker. So, so for next year, that's my goal, bro, to do a rally. I'm going to probably run the Dakar Bomber.
Oh,
she's my girl. Yeah.
Long-standing history.
Yeah, it was, for those of you at home that don't know what the Dakar Bomber is, it was Quinn Cody's Dakar race bike from 2012.
Yep.
So I have that one, and I use that one for my bookmaking and testing, and I have a slew of parts to keep that thing going. Johnny blessed me with that bike, so she is mine, and I got her street legal. And so yeah, that's what we use. We use the one-off 2012 450X Dakar Bomber.
Nice. Old trusty.
Yeah, she's a great bike.
So I mean, now, okay, so riding a factory bike, because that is a factory bike. There's and having the rally light setup, you know, the that comparison between both of them. What are your thoughts, weight wise? I mean, which is the, like, do you prefer one or the other for certain terrains or certain road books, or how does that?
Dude, I feel so comfortable on the Bomber. I mean, even though it carries like 10 gallons of fuel and the, you know, front and rear tanks and stuff like that. Suspension is great. I love the Bomber. I feel more comfortable going, you know, it's got factory suspension on it still. And that's a big part of it too, but I feel really comfortable on the Dakar Bomber. So, and the Rally Light's cool. So yeah, I got help from Rally Motor Shop on that, setting that up. And it's a great bike too. Right now, I'm just on the Rally Light because I tore my chest. I ruptured my chest. So I just need something a little bit lighter. So I'm using the Rally Light to get going right now. So as soon as I build some more strength, then we'll jump back on the Bomber.
Yeah. Well, let's talk Rally Light for a minute, because the whole, like, when we started the podcast and a big goal was to get more people into Rally Raid, and that's basically your Rally Light bike is what you got set up. So talk to us about that bike. What is it?
It's just a bone stock Yamaha 2008. I got it with like 53 miles on it, nice. Like probably a year ago. 08 WR 450. And then actually Ace gifted me the F2R. And then I talked to RMS, and he's super cool on helping me out with parts and what I needed and everything. And I'm like, cool, this would be a cool backup bike, you know, and it works. Easy to set up. So yeah, just head over to RMS at Rally Motor Shop, and they got everything you need. And, you know, if you need help, you know, putting things together, can't figure it out, he's super cool, man. He'll hit you back and help along the way.
Yeah, definitely noticed that. Matthew is definitely from Rally Motor Shop, is Johnny on the spot for that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're running, so it's the WR 450 stock suspension. You mentioned that earlier. So really no mods, just basic stuff.
Yep.
And then you're running, if I remember correctly, it's the handlebar setup, the handlebar mount, the RMS mounts with their roadbook holder, and then just an ICO, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then just a regular basic thumb switch. I didn't go with like super exotic billet thumb switches. I just went with the basic stuff, you know, kind of a basic guy. So I don't need all that cool stuff.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, you know, that bike is one of the bikes responsible for making, I don't know, how many road books are you up to now?
Oh geez, dude, I don't even know. Like a lot. Like a lot.
Dude, that's great. And I literally remember when you started making them.
Oh, dude, I was calling you all the time, bro. I was like, hey, I'm all taco. I'm like, how come this? Because I'm not a computer guy, bro. I'm not. You know, I'm like, hey, Taco, what about this? And then you tell me, and then I'd forget, and I'd call you the next week. I'm like, Taco, I'm so sorry, but I can't find the paper I wrote down what you told me to do. So how do you do this again? And like, you're so patient. So yeah, I mean, you're one of my helpers too, bro. So I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and look where it's gone from that to now. You know, you could literally say that you've had a Dakar winner ride your books, you know, and do your thing. So that's to me, that's and Johnny and Kendall. So that's for me, that's pretty big too. Yeah, you know, those nobodies.
So yeah, you know, and then I'm really pumped, like on Ace, like Ace will come out. It's supposed to come out. That's why I need to finish Burritos in the Sky, because we need some training for Sonora coming up. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tune up Ace for Sonora. But you know, Ace podium, his class at Sonora Rally, you know, And so Ace came out a few times so I can tune him up. I mean, I don't know what Jimmy knows. I'll never know. Jimmy's a god. Come on. Like, I know what I know.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm limited on what I know, but I only know what I know and what I'm told. But it's more than some and less than others. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But like Ace will come out and then we'll go and then he'll get stuck and he'll raise his, like, where am I going? I'm like, I do a chili. I'm like, I don't know. And then he like can't figure it out or something. And I go, okay, Ace. I said, let's talk about this. Let's figure it out, and then I'll help him understand the book or my thought process. And then, he'll get it. He go, oh yeah, that's right. This and that. And I'd be like, hey, you should do this to set yourself up for this. And he goes, oh, okay. I never thought of that, but, spent some time with Ace tuning him up for Sonora, and he podiumed. I forgot what he got. He got like a second or third in whatever class they call it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, in that.
So I'm super.
Go ahead.
Oh no. So I say I'm really super pumped on that I can help someone, because to be a part of someone's memories is priceless, because they're always going to remember that.
No, that's for sure. I'll never forget I think it was like the 6th note in Burritos in the Sky, where I was getting ready to ride back down into into Riverside. You're like, you're trying to be too exact, bro. Cut it out.
Yeah. No, you're no. That was Narnia. You're in Narnia.
Oh, okay. So that's another good one. How do you come up with the names on these? Because I know Burritos in the Sky. We've been talking about that one. Narnia. I heard Saba Land. How does the names come up? And then I hear there's one about Dos Mujeres or something like that.
Oh yeah, Dos Mujeres. So so that's a good one too. I don't know. It's the voices in my head. I have no idea. I just, when I'm riding and putting these routes together, and it's something like Dos Mujeres. It's like, it's kind of a joke with me and Johnny, and I go, oh, I'm like, Mujer. I'm like, what should I call this one? Because we call each other Mujeres. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this one for Johnny. Call it Dos Mujeres. So, and then Saba Land is Hide Hiwana. The year that Ricky won, Hide was a crew chief in charge of everything, and Hide has been part of before I was, obviously, part of that winning effort for 20 years in Baja. And Saba Land, I did a loop around where Hide lives out in the desert, and I call Hide Saba. That's his nickname. I call him King Saba. Nah. And he just calls me Saba, so I named that one after Hide, Saba Land.
Nice.
It's a pretty cool, fun route. It's like a 90-mile route, pretty fast, some technical, go through some cool areas, Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. Whatever pops in my head or something happens on the route, then I'm like, oh, yeah, that'd be a cool name. So, yeah. And then Burritos in the Sky, this tick over 200 miles, Timmy Gomez, he passed last year from accident, and he took me. We did a ride, not too long before he passed, and he took me to some cool places, and so I wanted to take the guys in these cool places. And when I was doing this, I'm like, this is for Timmy, because Timmy always reminded me of like a burrito, like a little burrito, And Timmy's not with us; he's in the sky, so. Burritos in the Sky.
Nice. All right. It's cool. There's a story behind every road book, and especially that one.
Yeah, there is. Johnny's like, how do you come up with this stuff? I'm like, I don't know, bro. Yeah, but when you get your Donnie bike going, your 501, you're gonna do Burritos in the Sky, bro.
Nice. Yeah, it's almost there. The parts list, the wish list is getting towards the end. I got a shipment notification from Maturvies, so I'm stoked on that. And, hopefully coming soon. I'll be ready to ride again by the end of January. So we'll see.
I gotta name a road book after you somehow. So we'll figure that out.
As long as there's maybe some tacos involved.
Yeah, of course.
I should be able to eat those by then. But
nice. Yeah.
So, of all the people that you've met through the travels and with JCR and all of that stuff, who do you think's made the biggest impression on you? Or couple? I don't want to single it out either.
Definitely Johnny, obviously. I mean, I don't know. I'd put Johnny probably in my top 13 best friends. You know, he just made the cut.
Yeah. Right. I'm not saying he's number one, but I'm not saying he's 13th either.
okay. Well, yeah, we'll put him in we'll put Johnny in the top 10. Definitely Johnny, and my pit captain, Chuck Wagner. Mm-hmm. I learned, man, I'm so grateful for that guy. I learned so much through him. Just pitting, the way we do things at Honda, and just I learned a lot of things through him. You know, not just pit stuff and whatnot. So those two guys had a pretty big impact on what I get to do today. You know, and obviously my association through Johnny and Honda and JCR, I get to do a lot of other cool things. I have a lot of other cool opportunities and other teams I get to help, you know. And I was run it by Johnny and make sure everything's cool. And yeah, he's like, yeah, you can do that, you know? So, yeah, Chucky and Johnny are probably the guys that I am grateful for, that had the greatest influence on me.
Yeah. I've, you know, it's interesting with with Johnny Campbell is I've only known him from the Baja races, and by I mean know him is like I've seen posters up and down Baja. I remember when I met him, that was my opening line to him. I said, I think I've seen you on a poster somewhere. And you know, you came out and I invited you to do the national with us. You came out that one time. Yeah, that was my first time, you know, even being around him and the way he carries himself and all that. But it was actually at Sonora Rally, where I really got to see who he is and how like he interacts, especially like with the organization. Because at that point I was working with Rally Comp and helping on the timing and doing that. And there was some stuff that went on one of the stages and that he had questions about. And it was like seeing him come up and ask questions and try and figure something out on something. Like his approach was that he was owed nothing. He just needed clarification. And then right behind him, it was another top team in another category. And it was completely the opposite. It was an argument from the very first get-go that the organization owed them something. And it was a very stark difference. And I remember I was talking to my dad about it, and my dad was like, that is a very big difference. He saw that is a completely different approach into how these two teams and both of these, you know, Johnny Campbell obviously is Johnny Campbell and JCR and HRC and all of that, but this other team was also a Dakar team and was very high placed and held in high regard in their industry, but it was very different in how and it was completely unimpressive how the other team handled themselves and the organization.
Yeah, you just want to treat people the way you want to be treated, you know? So just be nice, be respectful, and just present yourself well.
Yeah.
You know, and that goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know, and be humble about things.
Yeah. And that's, you know, and you would think like if anybody of those two, like if you put them both in, if anybody had the right, like you would say, oh, you have the right to do that. You would think it would be Johnny, because obviously the accomplishments and also far exceed what the other team was, you know, at, but I'm not going to name the other team because I don't think that's professional, but it was definitely a very marked difference. And that's it just that much more in high regard that I would hold him because of that. And that was my interaction, you know, from the an organization standpoint. So, but anyway.
Yeah. Super humble and just super, I don't know, I can't say enough about him, you know, like me and Johnny can travel. We have the Peninsula of Baja and we don't even turn the radio on because we can talk the whole time. It's just like talking to one of my best friends, you know, like he is one of them. So, you know, there's always something to talk about, and it's not always about racing, you know, it could be, it's a lot of other stuff too that you learn life experiences and stuff. So very, very fortunate, very fortunate to have his friendship and his guidance and his trust.
Yeah. And you guys have done, you mentioned you get to do kind of like other special projects and stuff. So you were up at Big Bear too, right? Recently for the big dual sport ride that they do up there.
Yeah, we did that. So we were doing rider support for any Red Rider up there. So I was turning wrenches, and then I was like, here's another thing too. Like, I was like, hey, Johnny, I said, we get people on other brands, orange brands, coming up and be like, hey, can we? I said, JC, we helping, these guys too? And he goes, yeah. He's like, they ride dirt bikes. We're going to help everybody, even if they're not on a Honda. So most of the bikes I wrenched on that weekend weren't even Hondas, and we made a lot of friends, they were very appreciative and so thankful, that we would do that. And I was like, hey, that's what we do. So,
and it's absolutely great, Mark. That is like the Honda guys and the other team, the people interested in buying motorcycles need to understand that you went to a dual sport event to support Red Riders, but ended up working on orange bikes more than you did red bikes.
Yeah, exactly.
So for those playing the home game, take that to heart.
Yeah, and then when we're doing that, they're, hey, thank you so much, appreciate it. Can I give you something? I'm like, no, that's a courtesy. That's a courtesy of Honda. Just, if next time you're in the market for a bike, just new or used, think about Honda. We'd appreciate it. And I've met so many good people just helping them that have become my good friends,
Yeah.
Just doing that.
Yep. Sometimes it's super cool. Yeah. And it looks like a pretty cool event. Hopefully this year I'll be able to make a few of those events.
Yeah, you should. It was a good time. Definitely a good time. Good people up there.
Nice. Very nice. So let's see. What else have we got going on? So more road book making. Rally sometime maybe this year, next year.
This year we're in.
You're in. All right.
Yeah, this year I'm in. I got to make I got support. I still got some sponsors. So, and I got a ton of mooses, thankfully enough, that I get the hand-me-downs. So I'm covered in that aspect. So I'm very, very blessed for that. And, so hopefully we'll make a rally happen this year. And I know I'm not going to be the fastest, but I hope that through my bookmaking and my ability to read notes and look ahead, that I could make time just being precise on the road book.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm banking on, but it could all go south. I could just wad myself up. Who knows?
Ride off into the sunset, No, I don't. That's the whole thing. I mean, we've talked about it a lot on the show. Is that it has a lot to do with the way that you have to rope it in. You have to control yourself. You have to be able to understand, read the road book, and make things happen. And sometimes it's not the guy that goes the fastest. I've seen that happen, and that doesn't work out in the end. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely correct. I mean, we've seen it with this Dakar and this stage. This past stage, you just got to be precise and just believe in your training, and hopefully, I'll get you through.
Yeah, make it all the way to the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll see what happens. So that's my goal for this coming year is to do a rally race on the Bomber. So
there we go. Dun dun dun. With the OG graphics, though. You can't lose the graphics though.
Oh no, dude! I got the. I'm looking at it right now. It's the 2012 Dakar Queen Cody special. Stickers on there. Number 9. So that's my favorite number. So
there we go. We'll just get some put a little strip of painter's tape over the top and then just put NAR on it. For that.
Yeah, you can do that. We'll see what happens. So we'll just definitely not losing those graphics.
No. Don't want to do that. Sweet.
So hopefully a lot of good things planned for next year. But my main focus is just to make road books, and for the guys and anyone else I can help out, like I said, I'm no Jimmy Lewis or anything like that. I'm no Johnny Campbell, and and I know what I know. And if I could help someone out, they need some help being tuned up, I'm more than happy to share my limited knowledge of what I have.
Yeah. Nice. Well, yeah, you've always helped, and that's I've gotten coaching from you, and I've looked to you for advice on bikes, and we've had many conversations of my ideas of motorcycles and what to buy, and some really like harebrained scheme ideas of what bikes to buy.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Hey, but you settle on the Donnie bike, so we're cool.
True. Yeah, that just happened to line. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that one happened to line up after being scared of all the used bike prices in California, which is insane.
Yeah. It's crazy, but it is what it is right now. So
yeah,
what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. If you want to get into it, that's what it's going to take. So,
yeah.
Very nice. All right. Well,
yeah, excited to get you out there on your new bike, and we'll get you doing some routes and stuff. So looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm anxiously awaiting my buddy Travis. Every single Sunday, he built up his gas with the Moto-Minded tower on it as well. It's just badass build of rally light-ish bike, and so I'm seeing that come together, and I'm like, damn, I can't wait to build mine. So I'm the fire's getting bigger. I just gotta get in the garage.
True story.
Yeah, it's just time. Whatever.
Hey, it'll happen when it happens. So just be ready for it.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. All right. Well, it is officially. I think we're getting close to dinner time. So.
Yeah. We're pretty close.
Yeah. So I'll catch up with you. We'll get you. I'll get you all the details. I think this will be out later tonight, if not first thing tomorrow morning, but I'll let you know.
Yeah, no worries. I know we talked about this for a long time, and I've always been gun shy, but I was like, let's just knock this out, so.
Right, there we go.
I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
Just a normal conversation between us, so.
Yeah. We left out some of the intro material because that may not necessarily, even marked explicitly, may not actually cover it, but whatever.
Yeah. I'll send you some voicemails. You can use those later.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that'll be the treat. All right, the moment of Gnar.
There you go.
Gnar moments.
Straight from Gnar's rally books. There you go. Straight from there.
Yep. And then once we start doing video, we'll get you down here.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Definitely fun. We got to go to that pizza place, though, by you. That place is rad, bro. Best pizza ever.
Yeah, Felipe's? For sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was delicious. At one time I went to your place.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty gnarly. I'm going to go ahead and blame about 20 to 22 pounds of my body weight to that place. So,
yeah.
Oh, this is the Felipe's corner. Yeah, but
for sure,
you got to take the good with the bad, right?
Exactly.
Nice. All righty, sir. Well, yeah. So we'll get you set up. I'll get your Instagram tag so people can follow along with your stories and what you're doing. And I know you're always on the Insta. So,
yeah, you probably hate my feed because I'm always posting stuff. So
no, you're one of the 3 people I have alerts turned on for. So.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah. So I know to like it right away. Keep that algorithm going.
For sure. Well, cool. Hey, Adventure Taco, I appreciate you having me on, and we'll talk to you soon, Taco.
See, we'll be riding soon.
All right, bud.
All right,
talk to you.
See ya. All right. So there you have it. That is right after 40 some odd episodes of mentioning him in almost every episode. That was Gnarly Dave. And so again, I met him back in the Baja Rally days when I first started with the organization. He was the guy starting and handling some of the mid-stage stuff as well. Then we just hit it off, started talking, and it just kept growing from there. Stayed in touch after he left, the Baja Rally, and continued on with his journey on the rally side of things. And I was, stoked, and being able to lean on him for some advice and information has been priceless. So He's always down to help, and I can't say enough good things about him. So absolutely stoked that we finally got him on the show. We'll probably have him back on here again. I'd even like to have him maybe co-host some stuff. We could do some interviews and stuff like that. Like I say, he knows a ton of people in the sport. So great guy, absolutely. So there you have it. That was In the Bivouac with Gnarly Dave. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and we will be back. And if you haven't, this episode, we'll probably get it out on Monday. You'll be listening to this on Monday. But later on tonight, Monday night, we'll be doing the stage recap as we will today, Sunday. Not stage recaps, but the basically stage introduction. So we're looking at the Dakar Rally 2022 and just presenting some of the information that's available about the stage and the previous day's results and what happened there. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and we will see you guys soon. All right, that is a wrap for the Chasing Waypoints podcast this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you heard. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a bunch of others. Also, follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook under Chasing Waypoints, Instagram Chasing Waypoints _official, and of course, the YouTube under Chasing Waypoints. Hope everybody has a good week. We will see you guys for the next episode. Remember, shiny side up, and don't forget to tag us. We want to see where you guys are riding and what you guys are up to. Have a great week.